The universe has always followed a rhythm we thought we understood. Comets, fragile wanderers made of ice and dust, glide silently through the darkness like ancient messengers, glowing in ghostly shades of green and blue as sunlight touches their frozen skins. They are the nomads of creation, remnants of the early days of star formation, carrying within them the unaltered chemistry of cosmic birth. Asteroids, heavier and colder, drift like monuments of destruction, the broken bones of shattered worlds. Their gray surfaces are carved with the scars of endless collisions, their paths forever etched into the deep black ocean of eternity. Even the stars, those burning giants that anchor galaxies, have remained predictable. Their colors, crimson, golden, white, or sapphire, reveal their temperature, their age, and even the countdown to their eventual deaths. For generations we trusted this order. The sky was a clock. The heavens, a song. Each orbit, each rotation, each flicker of starlight another note in a cosmic symphony, steady, harmonious, eternal. Until one night, the music changed. The arrival from the dark between stars came a stranger, a traveler unlike any we had seen before. It entered our solar system quietly, almost politely, slipping past the edge of Neptune like a whisper. Astronomers caught it by chance, a dim blur moving against the background stars. Its path was quickly mapped, its motion confirmed. This object did not belong here. It had come from interstellar space. At first, it seemed harmless. Another icy relic from another sun. Older than Earth. Older than the solar system itself. Perhaps even older than the star that gave us life. They named it 3I Atlas, the third interstellar visitor ever detected by humanity. Before it, there had been two. The first was the elongated mystery whose trajectory defied physics. The second, a frozen comet that shed light and dust like a ghost passing through our sky. And now Atlas, bright, distant, and impossibly rare. Telescopes around the world awoke to track it. Hubble, with its aging mirrors, captured its faint shimmer. Spitzer, before its shutdown, measured its warmth. Even the long-retired Kepler telescope was briefly revived, its dying sensors pointed toward the stranger for one final act of service. And high above them all, orbiting a million miles from Earth, the James Webb Space Telescope, humanity's most advanced eye on the cosmos, began its watch. For a while, everything behaved exactly as expected. Atlas brightened as it approached the sun. Its coma, the glowing envelope of gas and dust, shimmered in the familiar emerald hue of carbon molecules. Its tail stretched gracefully across millions of miles, whispering through the void like a frozen banner. The data was clean. Predictable. Ordinary. Astronomers relaxed. Papers were drafted. The object was catalogued. The universe, it seemed, was still following the score. The first discord, then came the first anomaly. Spitzer's infrared sensors detected a sudden spike, a violent burst of heat from the object's core. Not the slow warming of a comet approaching the sun, but something sharp, deliberate, unnatural. Soon after, James Webb's deep field spectrometers recorded something stranger. Atlas's glow began to change. The soft green light dimmed, shifting into a deep, blood-colored hue, a living crimson that pulsed like a heartbeat. Once. Then again. Every 84.6 seconds. Perfectly timed. Perfectly consistent. In the language of space, rhythm almost never arises by chance. Rhythm implies order. Order implies design. And design implies intention. The impossible code, the discovery spread like fire through the global scientific network. Observatories recalibrated their instruments, desperate to prove it was an error. It wasn't. The pulse was real. And inside each flash, the light carried microscopic ripples, layered frequencies structured far beyond random noise. It was as though each burst was a packet of data, encoded not in ones and zeros, but in the very behavior of photons themselves. A message written directly into the physics of light. The world's cryptographers were brought in. So were linguists, data scientists, and defense analysts. Even intelligence agencies, the NSA, GCHQ, Roscosmos security divisions, began studying it as though it were a transmission directed at Earth. But no algorithm could unlock it. The more it was analyzed, the more intricate it became, patterns inside patterns, structures that seemed to rewrite themselves depending on the angle of observation. It was not broadcasting. It was responding. The mirror in the sky radar imaging brought even more contradictions. At times, Atlas vanished completely, swallowing all incoming signals as though cloaked by an invisible field. Other times, it flared so brightly in return that it overwhelmed detectors, glowing brighter than polished metal under a midday sun. And then, the thermal paradox. Its surface radiated extreme heat, hotter than any comet ever recorded, yet its core temperature remained near absolute zero. A bonfire wrapped around a frozen heart. Governments could no longer ignore it. A covert alliance formed in secret, a coalition of scientists and defense officials under the code-named Project Icarus. Their mission? To study, contain, and, if necessary, intercept Atlas before it approached the inner planets. But by the time it passed Mars, another impossibility unfolded. Atlas's trajectory did not change under the planet's gravity. It should have shifted. It didn't. Einstein's equations, the very framework of modern physics, demanded that it must. But Atlas drifted untouched. There was only one explanation left: guidance. The object was not following the laws of nature. It was following orders. Theories and fears within Project Icarus, theories multiplied. Some believed Atlas was a lighthouse, a galactic warning system, marking dangerous zones in space. Others claimed it was a seed, drifting from system to system, seeking planets to transform or colonize. A third faction proposed the mirror theory, that Atlas wasn't communicating to us, but through us, a probe designed to reflect the awareness of those who observed it. As debates raged, the pulse began to behave even more strangely. Different observatories recorded slight variations in the rhythm, as though the signal adapted itself to the technology studying it. To older telescopes, it appeared faint and simple. To more advanced ones, it grew detailed, layered, intricate, as if it revealed only what the observer was capable of understanding. Then came the echo. Radio telescopes on Earth detected the crimson pulse not from Atlas itself, but from the empty void between Earth and Mars. A phantom relay, invisible yet undeniable. Something was repeating the signal. Something unseen was closer than we thought. The human connection that was when the light came home. Recordings of the pulse were played for neuroscientists studying its effect on the human brain. The results were immediate and unsettling. Brainwave patterns began to synchronize with the 84.6-second rhythm. Even when the sound was muted and only light frequencies were used, the effect persisted. Subjects reported vivid dreams, landscapes bathed in red light, endless horizons shaped by alien geometry, and an overwhelming sense of presence, as if something vast was observing them in return. Some awoke weeping. Others spoke in whispers of strange symbols they could not recall but somehow understood while dreaming. It was as though the signal was not merely seen, it was felt. Atlas's heartbeat had entered the human mind. The purpose by now, the world's major observatories were silent. Governments issued no statements. Every major telescope that had recorded the crimson light went dark in official databases. But leaked telemetry confirmed one final fact: the pulse was accelerating. The interval, once fixed at 84.6 seconds, was slowly shortening, a fraction of a millisecond every day. Like something counting down. And then, abruptly, the heartbeat stopped. The light of Atlas faded to black. For 72 hours, it was invisible. Then, without warning, it flared again, one final pulse that rippled through space, strong enough to register across every radio frequency on Earth. Inside that pulse, hidden in the spectral residue, researchers found a faint but deliberate pattern, 3 concentric spirals overlapping at perfect golden ratios. The same geometry found in galaxies, seashells, and human DNA. The question that remains: Atlas was not a comet. Not a rock. Not a coincidence. It was a construct, a vessel, or a signal, or something far beyond our current definitions. If it wished to remain hidden, it could have passed by unseen. Instead, it revealed itself. It wanted to be seen. The question we must ask is no longer what is it? The real question is why us, and why now? 3I Atlas did not simply cross our skies. It arrived with purpose. And somewhere, perhaps still echoing through the void, its crimson pulse continues to beat, a message written not in words, but in rhythm. A heartbeat waiting for an answer.